Here are the 7 things I wish I knew before going to SantaCon.
Oh, hi, Mark.
What's up, Freccero fam? Welcome back to my channel where I like to experience everything that life has to offer. SantaCon is one of the biggest bar crawls of the year that's been getting extremely more popular. It's in numerous different cities, states, and countries all around the world. And as you can imagine, like anything in life, there's a right way to do SantaCon and a wrong way to do SantaCon. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about the 7 rules, or the 7 guidelines, or basically the 7 things I really wish I knew before doing the SantaCon Bar Crawl. Number 1, SantaCon Logistics. One thing I wanna say right in the beginning of this video, which is very interesting, is every SantaCon Bar Crawl is a little bit different. Some you take a party bus and go all around the city. Some are just more of a block party that's in one area, and that's it. Other ones is what you can imagine as a typical bar crawl that's one street, you go bar to bar to bar, etc., etc. The best way to see for your city, for your area, is SantaCon.info. Make sure you check that out, because every city is a bit different. In addition, typically, most SantaCon bar crawls happen on the Saturdays of December. Sometimes, though, they start early in November. In addition, for your city, it might be on, let's say, the first Saturday of December, but in another city, it could be the 3rd Saturday of December. It's not all on the same exact day. A big thing as well I do want to mention when it comes to these SantaCon bar crawls, which is very interesting, is some bar crawls, which is kind of typical, have a schedule. Like at 3 p.m. we're going here. At 4 p.m. we're going here. At 5 p.m. we're going here. Other SantaCon bar crawls, though, don't tell you where you're going or even what you're doing in advance. Everything is kind of hidden in the dark until you actually start the bar crawl, which leads me into the next point. Number 2, avoiding scams. This is actually way bigger of an issue than you probably would expect. Now, I've done and gone to so many festivals, events, and parties, whether it's South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, the EDC Electronic Music Festival in Las Vegas, the Coachella parties that exist, of course, in Coachella Valley and in Palm Springs, and a lot more. And I gotta be honest, I've never gone to or done any event that had as many scams going on as SantaCon. And I have to stress this point. 1, make sure, like I said, you go to SantaCon.info and make sure you look at the official pages of that SantaCon in your city. The second thing I want to stress is typically, I'd say 90, maybe even 95% of the time, SantaCon is 100% free. So if, let's say, you do see someone saying, oh, give us $20 or $25 to go to the SantaCon Bar Crawl, that should raise a lot of red flags. Now, there are a few exceptions. There are some SantaCons that say, hey, you know what? For this block party we're having, we're hiring a DJ, and from 8 p.m. to midnight, we want to finish off the night at this one area, so we are charging people for, like, say, the after party. In addition, like, say, here in Los Angeles, one year I did SantaCon, they rented a bunch of party buses, which was awesome, by the way. SantaCon's typically free, but if you want to take these party buses, it is $20 per person to take that party bus. SantaCon, about 95% of the time, is 100% free. This is why, like I said, some SantaCons don't kind of tell you where you're going until like the last second, just so scammers can't create fake pages that, let's say, have the list of the bars, so it looks legit as the actual list of the bars, but typically it's free. But then on that page, they'll say, oh, you know what, pay $20 to get a wristband or some name, or you get your name on a list or whatever, and it's all 100% BS. The amount of scams that happen around SantaCon are just insane, so keep that in mind. Number 3, dress up. This is a big one, because as you can imagine, SantaCon is a holiday-themed bar crawl, and it involves you and tons of other Santas walking, having a fun time, drinking, bar hopping, and a lot more. Definitely dress up. And one thing they stress on almost every SantaCon page around the world, because this is now like a worldwide thing, is you can't just wear a Santa hat. Kind of a cop-out. I mean, even for me right now, filming this video, this kind of Christmas ugly sweater, even to me, this probably would be a little bit too low on the dress scale, and I have to kind of step up my game. This is the outfit that I typically wear when it comes to SantaCon. Full-on suit, plus a vest, tie, and hat, and shoes. I go all out trying to be a classy Santa when it comes to SantaCon, and I will say, the outfits that people wear are just ridiculous and incredibly impressive. It reminds me a lot, honestly, very comparable to Halloween in terms of the amount of effort people put into their costume. Definitely go a lot more all out than you think. And of course, don't get me wrong, if let's say you're very underdressed, does that mean you can't get into the bars or whatever? No, but I mean, it's still kind of fun to dress up and really experience the entire event. Number 4, all-day preparation. Now, some of these pro tips I'm gonna talk about are a bit Captain Obvious, but I like to be very transparent in all my videos so you know exactly what to expect. Typically, the SantaCon Bar Crawl starts during the day. It does depend, again, city to city, state to state, country to country even. Look around noonish. Like I said, it's on a Saturday, and the bulk of the activities, or the bar crawling, is bar crawling a verb? I'm not sure. But the bulk of the activities will be happening during the day, and I'd say typically I start around noon when it comes to drinking, and we usually finish off around anywhere between 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. So it is a very long and exhausting day. So I have to stress, remember, 1, of course, pace yourself. It's a long day and a long night. Another thing is be prepared when it comes to food. Some places you go to, as you can imagine when it comes to some bars, don't have food at all. It's only alcohol. All the ones, though, will have food there. So I suggest eat a very good breakfast. Maybe take a bunch of vitamins. Like I take B vitamin complex. I take DHM, which does help for hangovers and when you're drinking a lot. I have a lot of electrolytes and a lot of water throughout the day, because another big thing is typically for a lot of the bar crawls, you will be walking a lot. You're gonna be on your feet a lot. So I do suggest, if let's say you wanna wear high heels or something that's, a bit more exhausting to walk in and stand in, you might want to switch up your shoes. So that's another big thing to keep in mind. Another big thing I will suggest as well is a phone charger, right? If you're, let's say, starting at noon, and for me, I've done YouTube videos about all these different SantaCons I've gone to. As you can imagine, if I'm filming with my phone, doing like social media type stuff, my phone dies a lot quicker. So I do suggest having a portable phone charger on you, again, so your phone doesn't die. And let's say you're bouncing around, you lose your friends, your phone dies, you're like, shoot, now, where do I go? In general, just be prepared. It's gonna be a very long, exhausting, yet super fun day. Number 5, Santa. This is a super quick one. I don't know how or why this got started, but you do not call anybody by the first name. Everybody is Santa. So when you go to SantaCon for the first time, you may hear everyone being like, Santa, 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 I'm Santa, you're Santa, we're all Santa. Number 6. Kids/gifts. I want to bring this one up because, as you can imagine, in terms of the SantaCon Bar Crawl, you're in public, you're all dressed as Santas, and in addition, for a little kid walking around or being in public, you get tons of attention, not only from kids, but from adults as well. It's super fun. Sometimes hundreds of Santas, and all the cars are beeping and waving. It's kind of fun, right? I'm not gonna lie. Like, if anything, for me personally, just a quick side note, I actually like going from bar to bar more, almost like the journey from bar to bar more than actually being at the bar. But anyway, one big part of that journey from bar to bar is little kids. You're gonna be interacting with not a ton, but you'd be surprised how many little kids will run up to you. So I do want to suggest, 1, don't be that guy or that girl or that Santa. Second thing is, I do know a lot of people will bring actually like a bag of candy canes with them, or a bag of candy, or a bag of little Christmas items. So let's say if a little kid does come up and they're like, oh my God, Santa, you can be like, ho, 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 like, make sure you've been really good this year or something, and you give them like a candy. I don't know, I'm just making it up. Of course, definitely feel this out, right? It does depend upon the parent. A parent might see what's going on and be like, all right, we're just gonna walk the other way and kind of do something else, like Santa's busy right now. Or some parents might be like, oh, let's go say hi to Santa. I know this is being a person one-on-one, but I did really want to stress this point because it's not like a Cinco de Mayo bar crawl or a St. Patrick's Day bar crawl. When it's the SantaCon bar crawl with all these Santas, little kids are way more excited to see you and talk with you and interact with you. So this is definitely something you want to know ahead of time. And last, but definitely not least, number 7, be respectful. I had to mention it on this list that SantaCon, for both good and bad reasons, like I've said numerous times throughout this video, has gotten a lot of attention. And I think one of the biggest pieces, or if anything, arguably the biggest piece that has ever been done about SantaCon is John Oliver's piece all about SantaCon and pretty much what happens with it. And I'm not gonna lie, 90% of that video was negative. It was mainly talking about SantaCon NYC, or the New York City SantaCon, which is by far the biggest one in the world. And as you can imagine, when you have tens of thousands of drunk Santas, of course, you can have at least a few. At least they're gonna be not the best. And like I said before, you do not want to be that guy or that girl, or being more specific, that Santa. So again, I know this is maybe Captain Obvious, but I did have to mention it. Make sure you tip your bartenders well. Bartenders, I'm not gonna lie, I've noticed, even if they know a bunch of Santas are coming and you're a bar on the SantaCon Bar Crawl, most bartenders I find are not the happiest about it. So make sure you tip the bartenders very, very well. Make sure you're respectful to the bouncers, the wait staff, the workers, etc., at each venue. Of course, make sure you pace yourself. Like I said earlier, if, like, say you're a lightweight, just be very, very cautious. Maybe have a drink at every other bar, however you want to do it. Definitely, obviously, don't get too obnoxious. I mean, all these kind of things come into play, because I'm not exaggerating when I say SantaCon is one of my favorite events of the entire year. There's something super fun about the camaraderie. I think that's the best word for it. Where every year, like say here in Los Angeles, for example, I see people that I'm like, hey, how's your year been? Like, I haven't seen you in a year. Mini family reunion, I think, for different SantaCons. You have this camaraderie as well, where everyone's having a really fun time. Everyone's dressing up. Everyone's drinking and day drinking and having a great time. And so you don't want to ruin it for everybody. So make sure at the end of the day that you're very respectful, as you don't want to be that Santa.